Card King, here I come. Hello, sports fans, sports collectors, and all hobbyists. Welcome to the Card King Sports and Variety Show. I am your host, the Catman, Brian Cataquet, a.k.a. the Card King. We are live on ABC's KMET 1490 AM.com. Your number one spot right here for news and talk on the West Coast. I thank everyone for tuning in this morning. On the telephone line, I welcome back to the program after 5 years, 1968 Major League Baseball Cy Young and MVP winner, Tigers pitching legend. We welcome in Denny Mclain. Denny, great to have you back.
Brian, it's nice to be with you. Hope things are well.
Everything's going well, and it's really an honor for me. First, let me ask you, everything going well for you? How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing well. I've been, I'm 81 now, so I got the aches and pains of an 81-year-old, and but mentally I'm okay. I'm still doing about 70 to 80 card shows a year, and doing an awful lot of other appearances and what have you, and having a great time. As long as they're going to leave me on this earth, I'm going to do the best I can. I've got 14 grandchildren, so I got a lot to take care of.
Unbelievable. And, when I met you at a card show, so I wanted to ask you, so you're still doing the card shows. When is your next appearance for everyone listening?
Oh, yeah, let me get a plug in. I'm going to be at the Hillsdale County Agricultural Society Fair. Now, that's just south of Jackson, Michigan. It's about an hour and 20 minutes outside of Detroit. And it's in one of the great counties in the state of Michigan. It's the Hillsdale County Fair. And we start there tomorrow, and we go through next Sunday. And if you're in the area, just come on by, ask where we are. It's a very, very big successful fair. And we've been doing it the last couple of years and have had a great time. Seen a lot of people that we've seen over the years. I'll tell you the surprising thing is, and a little bit of shock from time to time, is when a grandfather brings his son, and that son brings another son or a daughter. I mean, we've had 3 and 4 generations from time to time at some of these shows, depending upon, of course, when they got married, what age. But it's incredible, the generations that we've seen in various parts of the country, coast to coast, and it's just a lot of fun. The stories, the pictures they took the first time they came through or the second time they came through, we've had a ball with it, and we do a lot of games with the kids, give them baseballs and what have you. And so if you get in the area, you want a couple of laughs and a good time and smell a lot of pig and horses, this is the place to be for the next 7 days.
There you go. We're talking with the legendary pitcher Denny Mclain, who's with us this morning. Denny, we have to touch on 1968, a year in which you captured the attention of the entire sports world with your 31 wins and 6-loss record. Now, I know it's a while back, but I have to ask you, what did you do differently that year that you didn't do in 66, 67?
Well, 65, I won 16 games. That was really my first real serious first year in the major leagues. And I won 20 in 66. 67, I won 17 and then got hurt with about 6 weeks to go. And then, of course, the 68 season. But I will tell you the difference, and it gradually built up to this. I used to be a bowler. And in 1966, my wife told me one time, she said, you need to get out of the house more, because I'm a keyboard player, and I was starting to go back to the keyboards a lot. And lo and behold, I started bowling again. First of all, the first week I went out and did 10 lines a day, and then eventually I got up to where I was doing 100, 120 lines per day. And I think that all of that worked out with my legs, my breathing ability, the things that needed to be done with the same things as a pitcher and a bowler. I got my legs in such great shape, I was able to pitch complete games. And that's what made the big difference. That was a sensational time. And we had lots of fun when all of that started to happen.
And Denny, it was meant for you. I feel it was meant for you to be a star because, even 65, I mean, you set a league record, I believe, for relief pitchers. 7 consecutive batters. You retired in 66. You made it to the All-Star game, and you retired 9 of your, the batters you faced. So this was 65, 66. I mean, you were destined to be a star early on.
Well, I don't know about destiny, but I'll tell you one of the biggest thrills I ever had. I graduated from Mount Carmel High School in 1962, Catholic school in Chicago. And in the 66 All-Star game, now this was a huge thrill for me. I found myself, and this was a shock, as a matter of fact. Somebody said, "Why don't you sit on the bench for a couple of minutes? We got somebody who wants to come over and interview you." Well, as I sat down, lo and behold, I sat right next to Sandy Koufax. I mean, Koufax, at that point in time in his career, was the rage of Major League Baseball. He's the guy that beat everybody at any time. If he only needed one run, he won 1-0. If he needed two, he won 2-1. He was majestic, some people would say. But we talked for at least 30, 35 minutes about pitching, about the travel, about the things you really needed to talk about for a guy who just got to the big leagues just a couple of years earlier. And he gave me a lot of good advice. Namely, the best one was keep your mouth shut and things get better every day.
But, I mean, to win the Cy Young back-to-back, like you did, Denny, 68, 69, I mean, I looked at a list. At that time, there wasn't many pitchers in the American League that won back-to-back Cy Young Award winners. It was mostly the National League pitchers.
Yeah. I think Koufax certainly. I don't know who else.
Right.
You got to be lucky. You got to be healthy. You got to be playing with a good team. I know I went one year in winter ball. I went to Puerto Rico and played down there. I think I went 14, 15 games down there during winter ball. And all of that fed what I was trying to do. I wanted to win. I wanted to be consistent. Yes, I wanted to be a 20-game winner like we all do when we get to the big leagues. And one of my great idols, and people probably will never remember this name, with the Chicago Cubs, because I grew up in Chicago, was a guy named Bob Rush. Bob was a right-handed pitcher with the Cubs, and the only reason he was my hero is because my dad, we went to one ball game in my entire teenage years. My dad died when I was 13. And we went to one game together, and my dad caught a foul ball off the bat of Bob Rush. So Bob Rush became my hero. And I wore number 17 because of Bob Rush. Bob didn't have a great, long career, but as far as I was concerned, he was the guy that made me do certain things, and I was very happy with the things that I learned from him and Koufax.
Oh, I did not know that. It's interesting. Now, also, Mantle was one of your idols, right?
Oh, yeah. Listen, Mantle was everybody's idol. I mean, listen, I never thought I'd be a pitcher in the big leagues. I never, ever thought it. Yet that's where I was probably the most successful when I was in high school. But the hitting thing with Mickey Mantle, switch hitter, everybody in the world who could play baseball wanted to hit from the left side and the right side. Everybody wanted to wear number 7. Everybody wanted to either hit third or fourth in the lineup. We all wanted to be Mickey Mantle. And the first time I met him, and I'm not kidding, the first time I met him, I turned around and there he was. Somebody said, "You wanted to meet me." And I literally started it off with this Mickey Mantle. I'm going to tell you what, I'm not sure, but I think I whizzed in my pants. I'm not sure, but I think I did.
But didn't you give a pitch to Mantle to hit a home run? What was it, his 530? Was it his 35th or something like that?
535. He needed one more to go ahead of Jimmy Fox. Jimmy Fox was number 3.
What's the story on that? Tell us the story.
I'm going to give it to you. And Fox was number 3 in all-time home runs. Mickey needed one more home run to do the same thing. And so this was the last game Mickey was going to play in Tiger Stadium. And we had just clinched the pennant. And this would have been my 31st win if I win the ball game. So we went out there, and I had a 6-1 or 6-2 lead late in the ball game, 7th, 8th inning. I think it was the 8th. And I yelled down to Mantle. I said, "Hey, you be ready." And he looked at me like he had just seen the deer in the middle of the highway. And I said, "No, be ready, be ready." So I threw him a fastball about 60 miles an hour on an arc. And he looked at me like he saw 2 deer now at that point in time. He could not believe what I was trying to set up him to do. I threw the second pitch, strike 2. But then I adjusted my thinking a little bit because I said, Geez, he took 2 changeups, 60 miles an hour. He's not a Rhodes Scholar. I got to tell him more. So I yelled down. I said, where the hell do you want the pitch? So then he put his left arm out and over the inside part of the plate where he hit most of his home runs from the left side. And he fouled one out of the ballpark, and that ball may still be going down Michigan Avenue in Detroit. And lo and behold, I yelled down to him. I said, if you want it again there? And he moved it over just a hair, about maybe 6 inches. And he hit one out of the stadium over the lights, and those lights are really high. And he hit the home run, and he got slaps on the back from everybody. Everybody shook his hand. I mean, the ballpark was in a standing ovation, deservedly so. And it was quite a day for me because I figured one day I may get a chance to go in the Hall of Fame. I don't really believe that's going to happen, but I said to Jim Price, who was the catcher that day, because Price got mad. He said, I'm not going to give anybody a pitch to hit out of the ballpark. Nobody does that for me. I said, Jim, you're a 180 hitter compared to Mickey Mantle, 300. I said, come on now, let's not take it personally. Just tell Mickey to be ready. So we went and did the whole thing again. And then when he hit the home run, it was one of those shots you knew it was hit harder than most. And as he went around the base, he flipped his hand to me and his hat to me. And it made believe me, at the time, for a very long time, it made my day.
I mean, that is incredible. So you basically did Mantle a favor, number 535. You know, they say Maris and Mantle, Eminem. Now we can say Eminem, McLean and Mantle.
Well, I guess you could, but here's the thing. I also told Price, I forgot the line. I told Price, I said, listen, the only way you and I are getting in the Hall of Fame is if our names are attached to his 535th home run. It's going to say Mickey Mantle hit number 535, moving ahead of Jimmy Fox, and Denny Mclain and Jim Price were the batteries that allowed him to hit that number 535. And that's exactly what happened. I mean, he hit number 535. In fact, he hit one more. But he had certainly done the trick. He made my day and made my career for me because that was my shining moment as far as I was concerned personally.
And we're talking with the great Denny Mclain, 1968-69 Cy Young Award winner. He's on the telephone line with us on KMET Radio. And, Denny...
Brian, one other thing about that story. I forgot to tell you. One of the funniest parts. Joe Pepitone was the next hitter. Joe Pepitone came up, and he took his left arm, just like Mickey did, and put it out over the plate and said, let me have one of those pitches, too. I want that Mickey Mantle gopher ball. Send me one. I'm going to be here next year. I'm your friend. I'll make sure that you stay in the big leagues for a long time. I said, what the hell is wrong with you? He says, no, just throw me that pitch, And I said, yeah, Mickey. I said, Mickey, I said, Joe, you're no Mickey Mantle. I said, I don't think anybody suggested you were, so just get ready. He said, okay. I said, and I said it in such a way that he could interpret it that I was going to do it. I was going to throw him a little flop pitch. And lo and behold, threw him 3 fastballs around the hand, struck him out, game was over, we won 6-2.
Unbelievable. I mean, that's unbelievable. But, Denny, I'm having like a few minutes left with you. I want to get a few in. That 68 Tigers team, and I was reading about that team, a talented group of individuals, but is it true that, I don't know, for some reason the team could not play well together?
No, I don't think so at all. I believe, I think every once in a while you can have a team with too many stars on it. I think maybe we approached it at one time. But certainly it didn't hold us back from doing what we needed to do, and that was win the pennant. Remember this, we had just had a lot of people got killed in 1967 during the riots in Detroit. And we were the guys that were put out in the streets to the schools, high schools, colleges, you name the schools that we attended and some of the organizations, just to try to quiet down and relax the town a little bit. And we had guys going everywhere, all the way throughout the Midwest and certainly in Michigan, all over the place. And people give us a lot of credit for doing what we did that winter after the riots, and that was doing our job not only on the field but off the field with the general public. And we had the greatest fans in the world, and they still do in Detroit. We had the greatest fans probably in America.
And how is playing with Al Kaline, the great Al Kaline? How is Al Kaline as a person?
I've always said this: Al Kaline, when he came up late in the ball game, 7th, 8th, 9th inning, he was the best baseball player in the history of the game. Al could drive in more runs, get on the base more times, move the guy along the way he's supposed to move a guy along late in the game, bunt if he had to. Al Kaline was not afraid to bunt either. And I'll tell you this, without Kaline, we probably would not have won the pennant. And he was out for a number of weeks that year, too. But when he came back, he was on fire. He led the team to that pennant and that World Series, and he made sure that he was the guy that was going to lead. And he made some serious talks in the clubhouse, and I think that's pretty much what happened in that clubhouse then. And Al turned the whole thing around, especially after the first game when Gibson had struck out 16 or 17 guys, because everybody thought he was unhittable, and I just made the one statement. I said, listen, if we don't score runs, we can't win. Number 2, Bob Gibson, I don't care who it is, could not beat our baseball team 3 times, and he did not.
And Denny, I got to ask you, we have to remember that 68 year was historic, not only because of your record, but because the Tigers were the 3rd team to come back from a 3-game deficit to win the best of 7 World Series. And what I find thrilling is that, yes, you did lose to Gibson 2 games, right? But you came back and won Game 6 and pulled the team out of that deficit into the series, as champs. So you really came through on the clinch there.
Well, I think they would have hung me, shot me, and I don't know what else they could have done to me, but I had to win 1 game. I mean, oh boy, all they were asking me for is to give them 1 game. And then we had 2 rainouts during that game, too. I mean, the game finished, and we had delays twice during that game, and I stayed in the game for 9 innings because I was not going to take any chances. And I had pretty good stuff that day, and, of course, we wind up winning. In fact, I gave up the 1 run in that game in the 9th inning with 2 outs. That really made me mad, too, to go 8 2/3 and not give up a run. That's a personal thing, but, boy, it really hurts.
So I want to ask you this. How was it playing for Ted Williams?
Miserable.
It was, right? Because I heard you didn't to play for him.
Ted just did not like – first of all, he liked to hit. That's what Ted did all of his life. He was a great hitter. No question, I think he was maybe the greatest hitter in the history of the game. I don't know. I wasn't there. But I will tell you, he just didn't treat people well. He was tired of being there because the ball club was awful. And Bob Short, the guy who owned it, wasn't Ted Williams' fault the ball club was bad. It was Bob Short because Bob didn't have the money to go out there and get some players, buy some players, get somebody out there. Find a couple of Kalines, find a couple of Hortons and Mickey Stanleys and guys like that. But he couldn't find them, couldn't come up with the money to do it. So we all played 162-game schedule, and that was, honest to God, I've had some moments in my life, good and bad, but this was the longest year in my life. This losing every day, and you knew you were going to lose every day, was just the worst thing I've ever been through.
Yeah, so you and Williams did not get along at all.
No, Willie Horton and I got along very well.
Oh no, Williams, Ted Williams. You and him did not get along well.
Ted, no. Ted and I didn't get along well at all. We had constant arguments about pitching, about guys pitching 3 days, 4 days, 5 days. The thing about it is Ted abused people, and I'm not talking about physically. I'm talking about verbally. And I think that type of pain is worse than getting hit with a hammer because the way he said things. And my father-in-law, who was Lou Boudreau Hall of Famer, says the same thing when Lou was with us. Lou said, you're going to have a tough time with him, but keep the chin up. And I tried to keep the chin up, which we did, got through the season, and, of course, then I got traded again.
Yeah, so you get traded in '72 to the Athletics, a team that had Reggie Jackson. And did you like playing in California?
Oh yeah, I loved California. I think it's super. I think it's a great place to play ball. The only thing that upset me in California because I pitched pretty well there. And what happened was when they voted for shares, and I was there, I think, like almost a third of the season, they never got me a share. They never sent me my check. So so then I could have recorded, hey, listen, I got 2 World Series checks, not one.
Yeah, but also that same year, so you go to Oakland, and then 72, then they trade you to the Braves.
Yeah, I was traded for Orlando Cepeda, and I went to Atlanta and got released. But I had it, my arm, I'd severed my rotator cuff. That was my biggest problem. It started to go in late 68, 69, it just got worse and worse and worse. And then finally in 70, 71, it had gone to hell. I mean, it just, I could, at times, after pitching a ball game, I could barely pick up a fork to eat. And so it got pretty bad, and we didn't have any operations back there. That's what a lot of people don't realize. We didn't have any operations back then. We didn't have one that could have fixed that. And of course, today they've got a 35 or 40-minute operation that, my God, in an hour and a half you're well. You're probably going to go back to the big leagues and do your thing.
And Denny, what do you think of today's game? You still follow the game?
Oh, I follow the game. I go to about 15 or 20 games a year. I still enjoy the game. I watch it when I can, and it's a different game than when we played. I mean, they don't hit and run anymore. They don't bunt. They seldom hit cutoff men. So it's more of a home run baseball game right now. It's all home runs. And, guys hitting 40, 50 home runs. I mean, I think one day, and I don't think it's too long away, that we're going to see somebody hit 75 home runs. I really do. The pitching has gotten that bad. Every team seems to have one guy, maybe a guy and a half. And this 5 innings thing, you'll never win a lot of games by only pitching 5 innings or 100 pitches or 110 pitches. You'll never win. You'll never have guys take control of the game again. Although they say Gibson and I and a bunch of other guys caused the demise of baseball in the 60s because the pitchers took over the game. Listen, everything's cyclical, and I don't know why the commissioner didn't see it, why all those geniuses in the front office of baseball didn't see it. I mean, it's cyclical. Everything, and if they go back 100 years, you'll see where the cycle is always in the great game of baseball.
I totally agree. And the website for everyone listening is IamDennyMclain.com. There you can read a lot about your history. And I didn't know, I'll end it with this. I did not know that you recorded 2 albums for Capitol Records.
I did. I did 2 albums with Capitol. Both of them were pretty good. And I still play. I was going to go back to the club circuit, but a couple of years ago, my wife died, and I just kind of junked the idea because she wasn't going to be around. I was not going to hang out in a nightclub again. I did that once, and I loved it, loved to play, but it wasn't exactly the style you want to go out in.
Yeah, and I did not know that your father-in-law was Hall of Fame shortstop Lou Boudreau. It's on the website. I did not know that. Yep. He, as a matter of fact, just to show you coincidences, 1948 he was MVP in the American League. In 1968, I was MVP. So we had a lot, and of course, I used to whenever I'd see him around the house or their house or our house, I'd always tell him. I said, "Hey, Luke, I got to tell you something." He says, "What?" I said, I've been sleeping with Sharon now for 13 years and 14 days. And that would set off his whistles, I'll tell you. and Denny, I got to ask you, the toughest batter for you to pitch to, who was it?
I don't know. It's asked of me a lot. And I don't know. The guy, if we just go on the number of hits they had, it may be Boog Powell. It may be, and I don't have any reason to tell you why, but he got a lot of base hits off me. Another guy, you'll never believe this one, Gene Michael. If you take every one of Gene Michael's hits that he had in his career against me, they would not get to center field. But I think he had like 45 hits off me in his career.
Fascinating stuff. Listen, what a great job. I really, really appreciate your time.
Brian, it's always a pleasure to talk to you guys. Call me anytime. I look forward to it.
Oh, love it, love it. Denny, take care of yourself.
Thanks, guys. And everybody out there, you get a chance, come on down to Hillsdale, Michigan, please.
Go see the great Denny Mclain in person. The website, IamDennyMclain.com. Check it out. Until next week, happy collecting to all.